Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up in just a few minutes in our Music Madness segment brought to you by OGPay.com, we're chatting with the legendary Charlie Walk, CEO of Aspen Music, former president of Epic and Republic Records, host of the top-rated Walk This Way podcast. Today, we're chatting about how fans and social media are leveling the playing field for all musicians, specifically the DIY, do-it-yourself indie artists on the rise, growing 48% in 2022. Now, independent artists are becoming successful by new ways of releasing and re-releasing and promoting their music. Now, I try to connect with artists as much as I can. I love hearing about their journeys and what drives them. And lately, more often than not, I find that we're talking about social media and virality. Having a song go viral is like catching lightning in a bottle. Rare, but very exciting. Over the course of the last few years, independent artists have emerged as the fastest growing sector of the music industry. Specifically, it's DIY indie artists who are on the rise. Now, these artists that Charlie works with are artists who are not bound by the rigid structure of the old school music industry and who are releasing music on their own terms. Today's indie artists are uniquely positioned to maximize the advantages that digital music platforms provide. And companies like Aspen Music have the agility to accommodate these artists in a way that major record labels cannot. Welcoming now to the show is the amazing Charlie Walk. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you for having me. First of all, I love watching your show. I know it's audio and video and iHeart and WR, but you're just amazing and you do your homework. And if I'm going to go on one show, it's going to be yours. So thanks for having me.
Oh, this is exciting. I love having you, especially in person. This is a big treat for me. So let's chat about how social media is increasingly where discovery is happening. We've been talking about this. Take, for example, TikTok with over 1 billion users, 3 times the amount Spotify has. Last year, about 120 acts were discovered on TikTok and then signed to majors. I mean, 75% of TikTokers say they discovered new artists through that platform, and 67% of them, Charlie, were more likely to seek out a song on a streaming platform if they heard it on the app. And this is according to Music Perceptions research conducted by MRC Data. This is real stuff. How do you weed out the artists that are here to stay versus these one-hit wonders?
Well, I've said repeatedly, as you know, stars are born, not made. And, I always go back to, remember that song, Roxanne, Roxanne, that it blew up on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
I even forgot the name of the artist. And I think it was a $10 million record deal. And all the labels went crazy because this one song was blowing up. But the artist is over now, right? For the most part, or maybe the artist is doing something, no disrespect, but that was a typical sort of one-hit wonder, data-driven signing. Everyone's going crazy for market share for the record. They do a huge deal with the guy, and maybe they broke even, maybe they didn't. But I don't think I'm in that business. I think we're in the star business where we chase the artist, not the song. And if you chase the artist, you end up with long-term, successful stars that actually affect culture and grow over time versus the one-hit wonder game. And I think there are those that want to play both. Maybe the major labels in that game. For me, that wants to partner with, deploy capital for artists, make that bet prior to. I just ran into Maxwell from Z100 in the hallway here, and we just talked about a story with one of my artists, and he got goosebumps. Yeah, I want to be in the goosebump game. I want to be in the gut game. If you can't look at an artist and feel and get goosebumps, well, how the hell is that going to translate to a stadium or an arena, or get thousands of people, all different types of people globally, to get behind a song or a T-shirt or a ticket or the whole process of someone's social media community? That's kind of the game that I want to be in. But I also think there's blockage, right? So although all those artists or songs have broken, how many real artists have broken from TikTok?
True.
Come on, give me a name. Okay, Lil Nas X. Give me another. It's small.
Yeah.
And that's because what TikTok sort of puts out there with their amazing algorithm is you can sort of throw a Hail Mary and put your thing out there and pray to God that something goes viral. Well, what if you do go viral? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Have you done the work?
That's a whole other.
Do you have a fan? I mean, do you think these stars that you go see, Harry Styles has been doing this since he's 14 years old. When you go see him at the Stadium Arena, there's a reason why he's great. He was born that way, but he's practiced. He's done the work.
He's done the work. Now
Put in
let's
the
chat the
hours.
solution. So to your point, if the music is good, fans will find it and crowdsource its popularity, right? So one thing that major record labels have that independents don't are huge promo departments whose only job is to push records to radio. And right now we see as short form videos are on the rise on platforms like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Reels. They continue to grow in popularity, and the importance of music discovery in traditional media channels like radio is actually declining. I mean, these days, music discovery is happening on social media. And if the music is good, to your point, fans will find it and crowdsource its popularity. Feels like fans are the new CEOs. What do you say to this?
I've been saying it on so many podcasts, including Walk This Way. You and I have had these conversations off air because I know how fascinated you are in understanding artist discovery, because you want to meet these artists and help them grow as well. That's part of your DNA. So yes, I say that artist discovery today is the most critical thing, and the way they're discovered really are by fans. So when you think about a streaming service, streaming is not radio. It doesn't play songs for you over and over. It's a place where you go. It's a digital record store, right? And you go to type in what you want to hear repetitively, and you put it on your playlist. So what makes you do that? Something happens off platform, off the streaming platform. I call that the context of everything that happens off platform in culture. Thus, it goes back to basically the traditional game of discovery. Someone telling somebody sharing something, except instead of it being local, it's global, right? It's a global music business because everyone around the world now can go onto a YouTube or a DSP, which is a digital service provider, and listen to the same thing. And social media is global. It's shareable globally. And that's the beauty of it. So what do we say? Fans are the CEOs of new songs and new artists, and they will hire you and blow you up, and they will fire you if you suck.
It's true. And now at Aspen Music, you always put artists first. And for you, it's an ongoing priority. You want to help more indie artists become working musicians. And I respect that tremendously. You're constantly challenging yourself to build solutions that make your artists' lives better and actually solve their problems. How are you adapting to the digital process, and what does artist management look like in the face of social media and influencership?
Well, there's a couple different ways I do it. First of all, from being at, when I go back and look at the labels that I ran, I think our biggest successes were the ones where I got in the biggest fights with the boardroom, or I call them committeeits. Diane Warren, who's a huge writer, she came up with this term, committeeits. When you go into a room and play a song for a bunch of people, do you think everyone at the same time is going to say, yay, it's amazing, if it's new and different? When we had Shakira Hips Don't Lie that we redid with Wyclef, I remember playing it for my entire company, and they all thought I was crazy, and no one would look at me in the eye, and I left pissed off. And so I always have that scar on me where, like, I don't care what anyone thinks. And I think part of our job is to go out and discover new and believe. And to the question you asked me about what's a manager today, or what's even a production deal. And so when you think about what I do with artists before they break, I like to get involved in the next, on the verge, where you see that gut before data hybrid sort of situation developing. You know you're sitting on greatness, but they haven't broken yet, may not necessarily have the fan base or the song. But you, your team, me and others around know how to pull out maybe their greatness and push it further quicker. And what do you get for that? You get a piece, management. You deploy capital. You're giving someone money that maybe a major label would do. I'm providing now the capital that a major label will do, but I'm taking a bigger risk. And with that bigger risk, maybe you have more ownership or a different type of deal because you're making a bet, predicting the future, right? Or thinking about what can happen versus, oh, this is already happening. It's very easy for everyone to look at the same data and write that check.
And you know what's interesting? You're on the money, because when you look at the figures, right? The figures released in IFPI's Global Music Report show total trade revenues for last year were $26 billion, and subscription audio streaming revenues increased by 10% to about $13 billion. And there were about 589 million users of paid subscription accounts at the end of last year. Specifically, it's the do-it-yourself indie artists who are on the rise, like I said, growing over 48% last year alone. Now, what this ultimately represents, Charlie, of course, as we know it, is a sea change in the A&R process. And unlike The
That's right.
majors who spend tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars promoting artist songs, indie artists don't have those resources. But what they do have is the opportunity to upload music directly to social media platforms and seek fan feedback before investing in the promotion of the song. So what are the top, say, 3 things that need to transpire for an artist before they start to see monetization of their tracks?
Well, first of all, it does start off with community and fans. I like to know that somebody likes you. I like to know whether it's a great song or a great short form, snackable content piece, that you're growing your base and you're doing the work. We always say we can't want it more than the artist. I said this yesterday on Elvis, and I'll say it again. The artist has to be the CEO of themselves and want it. I'll get behind you. I will deploy capital. I will give you the best team possible. I will be with you. My team will be 24 hours a day, but you got to want it. You got to wake up hungrier than all of us, because at the end of the day, it's your brand. An artist is a brand. A brand is a promise. What's your promise? And then be consistent and repetitive to that. And then we talk about, I always say, do you want to go out for a good lunch today, or do you want to go out for a great lunch? Doesn't everyone love great?
Yes.
And when you think about like even a burger, like I'm a burger freak, which I'm trying to quit. And you think about, Shake Shack versus In-N-Out, and I'll go deep on this, but they're great burgers. We can argue which one's better. But when I get off that plane in LA at LAX, where am I going? In-N-Out, double, lettuce wrap, let's go. Great burger. I'm not going to McDonald's. Sorry, y'all. I'm going to In-N-Out. And so it's all relatable to like watching an artist that's great, that blows you away, makes you feel good, a song that gives you goosebumps and make you dance and makes you cry and all that stuff, emotion. Those that can fulfill the emotional part of any type of human being, those are the artists that end up being the biggest. And that's what we want to do. And now when I say one thing about the major, someone said to me, are you anti-major? No, I'm not. Every artist that we have will have the ability to make a deal with a major label, and those major labels can rent our records.
There you go.
That's called a distribution deal. But we're going to do the work, and we're going to maintain that ownership and that partnership with the artist because we deserve to, because we were there when no one else was.
Yeah, you said it. And look, social media is like having a focus group for each track, right? Previously, artists didn't have the luxury of asking fans what they wanted to hear. I mean, the historical gatekeepers were, record label execs, just like, radio DJs decided what major label artists released. And there's a reason why these do-it-yourself indie artists are the fastest growing sector of the music industry. There's more access than ever and less gatekeepers along the way. And the discovery of new music through social media and streaming makes it easier than ever to find these new artists. And with the rise, of course, of social media growing hand in hand with the DIY artists, the playing field isn't really being leveled. It's actually being recreated. So what you're doing is pretty proprietary and revolutionary. And of course, what's happening in the digital transformation, the great Charlie Walk, you're at the forefront of that. So thank you so much.
Well, let me be clear. You have to reinvent yourself. I used to be the guy sitting in the room, hey, I've got golden ears. And you know what? I do think I have good ears, but I'm wrong half the time because I now can have an audience let us know what they like and what they don't to make better decisions and make better financial decisions. I was with a girl the other night named Naraya, who's on fire right now on Spotify, not signed to me. I just like her. And she told me she does 30 TikToks a day. Okay? And
Wow.
she sees what her fans like sonically and visually and makes her decisions based upon her bosses, the fans. And she played last night in New York at a sold-out show. And she's next up. And again, she's not signed to me. I love new.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all. I love new. And she just blew me away. And she's so effing smart. And she is the epitome of what a true boss music star is today.
All right.
I want to be with those
her.
people. Let's go, Naraya.
Big shout out to Naraya. Well, we're out of time. Charlie, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It was awesome.
Thank you.
That was our Music Madness segment brought to you by OGPay.com. That was the legendary Charlie Walk, CEO of Aspen Music, host of the Walk This Way podcast. And of course, you could check him out on the gram at Charlie Walk, or you could head directly to aspenmusic.co. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OGPay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OGPay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out ogpay.com.